And we got our guy from 95.7 The Game, Kyle Madson, in the building. Welcome back, Kyle.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Are you? No, he wasn't here. He hadn't been here for like 3-4 weeks. We thought you quit us, Kyle.
No, it's been like a month. I was on my honeymoon, and then I was busy last week.
Well, that's a good reason.
I love you guys, but I wasn't going to hop on my honeymoon.
And I wouldn't ask you to. I wouldn't. Now you get to go and cover the NBA Finals because the Warriors going to their 6th NBA Finals in 8 years. Let's just give us a second here. I'm just listening. I'm just admiring. Tell us what it's like to be part of a winning team.
Well, I'm not on the team.
Well,
but
to cover the team.
It's pretty unbelievable because the pinnacle for Golden State when I was growing up, I was born in 90. So the pinnacle for Golden State was the We Believe team, and they went to the second round and kind of got housed. But that was the high water mark. And then they make the playoffs in 2013, and okay, they had a nice, little run, and then they lose in Game 7 the next year. And it just felt like, okay, they're in a spot where they're going to, make the playoffs pretty consistently. And then they become this team that, goes to the finals in consecutive years. And then they get Kevin Durant. And it felt over when Kevin Durant left. And that's why this is such a surprise to me that they're back, is because I thought it was done. Yeah. Like KD leaves, they win 15 games. Steph gets hurt and in the pandemic season, and then they come back, and last year they were the 8th seed. They lose to the Lakers at Staples in the play-in, and then they lose at home to Memphis in the play-in, and it was like, okay, they had MVP level Steph and finished 8th, and Draymond's, I don't think his game's going to age great. What's Klay Thompson going to look like when he's coming back off 2 devastating leg injuries? They don't have Andrew Wiggins is just Andrew Wiggins. Like, this is probably what this team is. They're going to battle for a play-in spot and maybe get to the first round and lose. So the fact that they're back here with pretty minimal roster changes and just getting crazy performances from Kevon Looney and Andrew Wiggins, and Klay Thompson has looked better than I thought he would. It's kind of unreal because, like I said, I thought it was over.
Yeah. Don't forget Nemanja Bjelica. He been
was
the difference maker.
Okay, he was legitimately. So he played at the end of Game 4. They're losing by 30 or whatever, and he came in. He gave him good minutes, and Kerr went, yeah, hey, let's throw him out there again in Game 5, and he was really, really good last night. So shout out to Nemanja.
He's sneaky. He does a bunch of things that you don't expect him to do, and you're like, okay, interesting. I mean, we had him here in Sacramento for, what was it, 2 years, 3 years?
3 years.
Yeah, he's fun.
He just always does the right thing. Like, he's just gonna make sure he's in a spot to make the right play. Sometimes he makes it, sometimes he doesn't.
Yeah, just don't put any phone books out there. He's not going to be able to jump over them.
No.
Yeah.
Gonna trip right over the phone book. She going up for a layup. Nemanja, he was a really good signing. He was. I shouldn't put really in front. He was a good signing. Vlade was able to bring him back after it looked like he was going to leave the NBA. He did some good stuff out there. It ended poorly, and I'm not a fan of that. But there was a number of times when I was like, yo, this guy's actually playing really good. He's saving the Kings. So he's going to get to go to the NBA Finals.
He's one of those weird players that like his spot from 3 is like 4 or 5 feet behind the 3-point line. Yeah. It's like he's way better from there than at the actual line. He's been when he's your like 5th guy off the bench, like you're in a pretty good spot.
Yeah. That 3 he hit against Houston for a game winner, where Houston clearly hadn't scouted him. He did exactly what you're talking about. It's like he went and stood at 30 feet, and they're just like, "What's he doing out there?" Flick it to him, laser from 30 feet, nothing but net. All right, game over. Yeah, cash money. Yeah. We just segued to a weird. How do we get on Nemanja? That was my fault. My bad.
No.
That's
sometimes
I'm here for Nemanja Bjelica content.
You got to give Bjelica his flowers, I guess. Even though, like I said, I'm not the biggest Bjelica fan after the way he exited out of here, but he's going to the NBA Finals. Somebody else is going to the NBA Finals. I'm going to do this 2 days in a row because look, man, I ain't no hater. I'm not no hater. Kyle, we talk about Steph Curry going to his 6th NBA Finals. Deservedly. He's the straw that stirs the drink. Klay Thompson now going to his 6th NBA Finals, both with a chance to win their 4th NBA Finals. The other guy, Draymond Green, is going to his 6th NBA Finals. I was talking to Bonte Hill about this yesterday when he came on, and I got to tip my hat to Draymond because he looked finished. He looked finished the year they won 15 games. Even when he came back, I thought he looked done. I said a number of different times, the Warriors need to sucker somebody into taking his contract, and they need to move on from him while they can. And he looks reinvigorated. He's been really, really good for most of the season when he's been healthy. And in these playoffs, he's been really good. I got to tip my hat to him because, like I said, I thought he was finished, man. I thought he was done. And he's been a huge part of what they've been able to do to get back to this NBA final round.
A major talking point this offseason on 95.7 and just in, among Warriors fans was, do you trade Draymond Green? Like that was a thing because I think a lot of people were on the same tip you were. Like, hey, he looks done, and chances are at his age and with his game, like he's probably not going to get better. Like there's not going to be this bounce back. Do you package him for Ben Simmons? That was the big talking point. And I'm with you, man. Like the fact that he was just defensively as good as he was this year. I think his second team all defense. Last night he scored 17 points on 6 of 7 shooting.
Now that's crazy.
It's like if you're when their record, I wish I had the number in front of me. I don't have it. Their record when he scores like 8 or more points is wild. And last night, like they needed him. Like Steph wasn't very good last night, and Draymond comes through with 17. Like he's just a winning player, and sometimes it's just kind of inexplicable. But we've been talking about how the Warriors front office just kind of pushed all the right buttons, and hanging on to Draymond was one of them. Yeah. So
you bring up, you say that about Draymond, but the other guy, it's almost like the opposite of Draymond is Wiggins, where for all of his career, Draymond's stats maybe don't show how much of an impact he has on a game, where Wiggins' stats were bloated and didn't show that he really had no impact on a game. All of a sudden, Wiggins is the guy. Is it that the Warriors have rubbed off on him? Is that he matured? He got to a certain age where it just clicked, or what? Because I've watched him. He's just been phenomenal. Like everything he does. And then he could be like the X factor in the next round when you're looking at guys like Tatum and Brown and who's going to defend them. And you got a guy who's showing that he's ready for the big moment.
I think it's a combination of the, I hate doing the like culture thing, but I think it matters in this instance. And maybe it's maturity as well. But he's still, even through the middle, because he obviously started great. He was an all-star, whether he should have been, you can argue, but he makes the all-star team. But he still had these bouts of like, he'd be really good for 2 or 3 games, and it's like, oh, there he is. And then he'd have 2 weeks where you'd forget he's on the floor. And the fact that he's come into the playoffs and he's playing this type of basketball where it's not even the production necessarily, like you said, James. I mean, he was 18 and 10 last night. But on top of that, he's adding in the hustle plays. And I think he had 7 offensive rebounds. No, Kevon Looney had 7 offensive rebounds. Andrew Wiggins had 3, I think. But he's tipping balls out. He's playing full court defense on Luka. There were a couple times last night where, especially when the Mavs started to climb back into the game, where Wiggins just went full ball denial on Luka and forced the Mavs to play offense without him. And then once he got the ball, there was 8 seconds left on the shot clock. And at that point, it's a lot tougher to get into your offense. So there's just, on top of, hey, yeah, he's producing in the box score. He's doing all the little things that's what he got knocked for. It's like, man, this guy just doesn't try. This guy just doesn't care. And now on the biggest stage, it's like, oh, he does. And when he does, you realize why he was the number 1 pick. He's been really, really good.
Yeah, that dunk.
Oof. Oh my God.
Wow.
That was unreal.
Yeah.
Ooh, poor Luka. Gotta shout out to Luka, man.
Did you see Frankie Smokes last night make the business decision? Wiggins goes baseline and he jumps up with two hands, and
Yeah.
then Lakina jumps up and then does the like duck
Let me
underneath.
get out the way. There
Very
will
smart.
be no block here. Let me just get on out the way. I got to do what we got to do. Kyle Madson from 95.7 The Game, and also from Candlestick Chronicles here, talking about the Warriors, going back to the NBA Finals. And me and James, we were talking about it a little bit earlier, you know, a little disagreement, you know, didn't really see eye to eye in this particular situation. He says it should be easy work for whoever the Warriors play in the finals. They're clearly the best team in basketball. I say, Lee Corso, not so fast, my friend. I think if they play Miami, yes, easy work. That's going to be a sweep. We don't need that in these NBA finals. Matter of fact, get whoever they need to get out there to make sure the Celtics get all the calls, do what they have to do, because the NBA can't afford, after all these blowouts we've seen, we can't afford to have Miami in the NBA finals. We need to make sure that's taken care of right now. I say if you play Boston, though, we got a series. I say we got a 50-50 type series. I think Boston presents some problems. Golden State presents some problems for Boston as well, but I think Boston presents some problems for Golden State that we could see a long, close series.
I'm with you. With Miami, having nothing to do with whether the series would be short or long, is there a team that plays a less aesthetically pleasing style of basketball, like in the league?
No.
It's just like they purposely turn games into rock fights, and I just don't. Like Jimmy Butler mid-range jumpers is just not what I'm trying to watch.
It's like mid-'80s, mid '90s Knicks Heat. That's what it feels like. It does. It feels like they're still the same team.
Yeah, it's gross. It's not that fun, whether it goes 4 or 7. But no, I think Boston wins tonight, and I think Boston. I'm with you, Casey. Like I think they give the Warriors some problems. Whether they beat them, I don't know. But I was at the game where Steph got hurt. And prior to Steph getting hurt, that was against Boston. Marcus Smart, they're diving for a loose ball, and he rolled up on his ankle or his foot. But even before Steph went out, that game was ugly, and Golden State just could not get a good shot. And I think that's where Boston creates a lot of problems, because they're going to be physical with Jordan Poole, and we saw Memphis effectively just kind of wipe out Poole from games by being physical with him. That's what's always been Steph's kryptonite is off the ball, just getting physical with him. I think that's something that Marcus Smart would be very, very good at, or Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown. Like the Warriors had a bunch of different guys they could throw at Luka. A team like Boston has a bunch of different guys that they can throw at Steph, and they can throw guys at Steph without generating mismatches elsewhere. That said, can anybody on Boston dribble?
Well,
like that's where I think Golden State would have a pretty significant advantage, especially seeing how Andrew Wiggins handled Luka. If Gary Payton II comes back, I'm not saying he'd be a huge impact player, but he's a really, really good on-ball defender. Like he's very, very good at that.
Yeah.
And if you have him and Andrew Wiggins, and Klay Thompson's been a little hit or miss on that end, but with Draymond Green, now all of a sudden you're presenting a lot of problems for Boston. So I do think that would be a tough series for Golden State. I would probably still pick them to win just because of how well they're playing right now, and just Boston's pretty banged up. So that matters a lot. You know, what does Boston's injury report look like Thursday? But no, I'm with you. I think that's a long series, regardless of who wins it.
What's going on down there with the 49ers? Anything? Has the chaos subsided over the sort of the weekend or the early week snafu? Like,
holy smokes! I mean,
I don't even know what to say. Like,
I don't want to dive like super far into it, but
yeah,
I think it's subsided for now. We'll see what happens once the season starts, but I don't think anybody's going to run up on any reporters or anything. But it's fascinating, just from a pure like not even caring, like take the names and faces out of it, just from like a journalism standpoint. Like I got a degree in journalism at SAC, and we talked about these kind of instances like reporter and subject relationship and this and that. I just think that as a case study is fascinating. So that's where I'm watching it from. Like I couldn't give a rip about, you know, who says what to who. I'm just like, man, how do you handle this as a journalist? How should a player handle this? I'm having a great time watching this from the rafters.
That was rough to see, man, because, like Jay-Z says, man, nobody wins when the family feuds, and not that they're family or the reporters and the Niners are family, but nobody won. Like, everybody looked bad.
That's it.
Looked bad. Kinlaw looked bad. The 49ers looked bad. It was just a bad look all the way around. And it should never get to that. Like I think it's safe to say you guys both write stuff and cover the teams in a different way than I do. And I would safe to say, like, nobody wants to be the story, right? Like, you just want to report on what's going on. You don't want to be part of the story. And we saw that. And that was, I like Grant. I don't have a problem with Grant. You know what I'm saying? And it was tough to see that from him. And Kinlaw seems nice. It was tough to see him in that situation as well.
Yeah, I think that there's ways Grant could go about his critiques and criticism differently, for sure. But also, like, this happened earlier this season with the Warriors, actually, with Draymond Green and Anthony Slater from The Athletic. Slater wrote something that Draymond did not appreciate. Draymond said something about it without naming Slater in a press conference, and then they went off to the side in a tunnel and talked about it, and that was it. Draymond didn't, run up on him and try and physically intimidate him. He didn't go and curse him out. I mean, he might have cursed him out, but he didn't publicly on YouTube in front of thousands of people curse him out. And that's how, to me, and from what I understand, I've never been a reporter where I'm in locker rooms and doing all the hard reporting and stuff. But from what I understand, and James, maybe you can speak to this, but from what I understand, that's how that goes. Player doesn't like something that was written. They might address it with the reporter, but going after them in that way is not the way that's supposed to be handled.
Yeah, I've only had one situation where someone, like, had a moment with me where, like, they came at me a little bit, not where I thought I was going to get punched, but, like, was inappropriate with the way that they came at me. But I'll say it's not that I didn't see it happen to other people. I mean, I was in a locker room with DeMarcus Cousins for 6.5 years. So I mean, I was in multiple situations where things got a little wild, a little crazy. One specifically with Andy Ferrillo that, DeMarcus, but like,
I remember that.
But my situations with those guys were always different. It's typically that if someone did have a concern, DeMarcus might go like, and I would go over and like, hey, why did you say this? Or why did you tweet this? And I would explain and like, okay, we're on the same page. There is a way that you work those things out. And I think the biggest thing for me is that you show up every day. So if you're going to write a hit piece and run somebody over, you show up the next day. And if they have a problem, they know that you're there and you can go have a conversation with them. That's how you handle your business. So I don't know if that's the case down there or not. I just know that, like, if you're there every day and you put in the time, you put in the energy, and the players get to know you, that they usually don't go down that road. It's just very few and far between when someone does.
Yeah, and I think too, when you're presenting as a journalist, and Grant is there, he covers practice, he covers games. I think that when you're going to critique a player, there has to be some impetus behind it. And just saying, I'm tired of watching player X play football, like that's something an angry fan says.
Right.
And that's when you present yourself that way on the internet, even on Twitter, like that matters. Maybe you don't write that way in your column, but if you're tweeting like that, like, players see that, man. And if that's how you're speaking about them, and there's a perceived disrespect, it's gonna get under some players' skin, and I think that's what happened here, and I'm guessing it won't be an issue moving forward. But who knows?
While the beef wasn't squashed, according to Kinlaw, it won't be an issue, like you said.
Right.
Real quick before you get out of here, we got like a minute. I need those Trey Lance stats. What were the numbers? What were the numbers looking like in OTAs?
Dude.
Incompletion. No, I'm just joking. But
he's really good throwing on air, it turns out.
That's what people are looking for. I mean, Did you go out there at all?
No, I haven't. No, I don't. I don't have time for that.
Yeah, OTAs. Like, just stay healthy. That's all.
That's it.
I'm looking forward.
Yeah.
To stay healthy.
Does anybody look like they can't play football? No. All right, move along. That's
all it is, man. So I do. Nothing has changed with me, Kyle, and I think we're on the same page. I mean, I think all the speculation about Jimmy Garoppolo is rather silly. Trey Lance is a starting quarterback. It makes that's just what it is.
The quarterback's coach hasn't even talked to Jimmy Garoppolo. Has had no communication with him. It's a new quarterback's coach. Hasn't reached out and been like, "Hey, man, what's up?" Like, he's not in the building. He's not communicating with the coaching staff. It's done.
I see a Jimmy Garoppolo like drawing with him waiting by the phone and Brian Greasy not calling, or whoever it is not calling. Like, how many
Rita Oak art coming?
Yeah, like how many drawings until Jimmy gets traded, which is like the most brilliant follow on Twitter.
Crazy.
So good.
So good. She is absolutely spectacular. Anyone who doesn't know what I'm talking about, just Jimmy Garoppolo. She draws a picture every day of him until he gets traded.
Yeah, Rita Oak art. I'm guessing he's either traded or cut like the first weekend of July.
That's what I'm thinking too. Something will happen towards training camp and around that. So, Kyle, welcome back. We always
excited to be back.
We missed you, man. Welcome back.
No, I missed.
We'll talk to you next week. Are you going to be around? Are you going to Boston?
No, I won't. They don't. No one's paying.
I'm just saying, you big time. No, you big time. Flagship station and all that. So, but we'll look forward to having you next week and talking more about these finals, man.
No doubt.